So let's say hi to our first guest in the episode of Talk with Daddy, the one and only Hobbit.
Yes, yes. What's going on?
It's great, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, good. Not
It's a
not too
pleasure to have
bad. Yeah, just had some food, so I'm feeling happy.
you. Same, actually. 5 minutes ago, before this interview.
Sick. Perfect.
Actually, this is the first episode of this new show, which is called Talk with Daddy. And I'm so glad that you're my first guest because there are a lot to talk about, and I think that there's a lot to talk about because we are in this quarantine and there's not much to do, so
For
we should
sure.
have fun in any way.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's really crazy times, but
Yeah,
like I say, it's great to be able to meet you and talk through a
uh, it's,
camera over the internet.
it's my pleasure. So I heard that England is having some trouble in the weather, and there's thunders and storms and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy here. Like I'm in London, so it's not been too bad.
uh,
Um, but I know like
Stoke and over this place, it's horrible.
yeah, and now there's more coming on tomorrow and Wednesday. There's like more storms, so we'll see what happens. I
Yeah,
like a good
it's just
storm.
because it's England.
Yeah, exactly. I'm used to
Been
it.
to England twice before, and I loved every single second of it.
Sick.
And yeah, I've
Where
been to
did you come to?
Newcastle and to Kiel before,
Oh,
so
sick.
I really enjoyed it. But I didn't go throughout this like horrible weather. Like it was a normal winter and a normal summer because I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah. You got the lucky one. You ordered in the right weather,
Yeah.
right?
So first, let's start this. I want the people to know who is Hobbit apart from the beatboxing. I want you to talk a little bit about your personal life. So let's say, how old are you? Where do you live in England? Where have you been raised? Everything. So the
Cool,
mic is
man.
yours.
Yeah. So I'm 32 years old now, which
Oh,
is pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I currently live in London. I've been living here for about 10 years now.
Oh,
But I originally grew up in a city called Gloucester, which is in the southwest of England, kind of near Bristol, which a lot of people know Bristol because there's a big drum and bass scene there.
wow.
Um, so yeah, I grew up there and yeah, moved to London, but I've moved around a bit. I've lived in a few places.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I call London my home. So
So yeah, you've been there in London for about 10 years now.
yeah,
So yeah, so we can call it home. Yeah, of course.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, and there's nothing better to start this talking about beatboxing than talking about how did it start with you? What was the first day that you said I want to be a beatboxer, or how did you find it out?
Yeah, so yeah, I guess it's good to start from the very beginning. When yeah, both my parents are musicians, so my mother is a pianist. She's like classically trained, and she's
Uh-huh.
yeah like pretty amazing. You can like say any song, and she's like, "Oh, you like this," and she just plays it. It's pretty amazing. And my dad was he was very into music. He was a singer and he used to play harmonica, blues harmonica, so a lot of blues music and things like that. So when I was growing up, I had lots of different music playing in the house from like many different genres. And like I said, my mum was into a lot of classical music, so she played a lot of like classical records and played piano a lot. But then she was also into kind of 60s music, so like the Beatles and that kind of era, and a lot of Motown as well. And then my dad was into rock and blues and kind of everything really. And then um, I think from a young age, I'd started to enjoy music, and when I started in school, I never studied music or did anything academic with music, but I really got into rhythms and was always like tapping on the desk in school and annoying teachers like that, and kind of making little sounds and things like that. And then when I was in high school, um, I got really kind of friendly with the music teacher,
Yeah.
which was this compulsory part of the school. But in our music room, there was a small room that had an amp and a drum kit.
Yeah.
And in our lunch breaks, I used to stay in there and play drums and practice.
Yeah.
And then there was a microphone, and then there was another kid at school who did some beatboxing. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've heard that before. And then one of my best friends at the time, his brother was really into hip hop, and he had a hip hop mixtape which was on a cassette tape, which a lot of kids don't know what that is. But on this tape, yeah, you've heard of them. They're pretty cool. On this tape, it had a clip of this beatboxer, which some of you might know, called Razel. And this clip on this mixtape was him doing "If Your Mother Only Knew," and I was like, "Oh, it sounds like that guy's beatboxing," and it was like, "Yeah, he's like doing that thing." And then this was like kind of right at the time when the internet was new, and there was no YouTube or anything like that. And my friend used to go on like some music downloading websites to and we just searched beatboxing and then discovered all these things, and we discovered like the Fat Boys and some Dougie Fresh clips, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then and then kind of off the back of that, I started to just make some more noises and kind of play with it. And then I got the internet at home, and then I went on, and probably wasn't even Google back then, I don't know what it was, but I searched for beatboxing and discovered beatboxing.co.uk, which very soon, I think after like 2 months, became humanbeatbox.com. And humanbeatbox.com, for anyone who doesn't know, back then was a beatboxing website that had a forum, which is kind of like a chat, which kind of Facebook took over that kind of side of things, where you could talk to beatboxers from around the world. And on that site at the time, they had tutorials of how to beatbox, but there was no video and no audio. It was just text. So it'd be like, to do a kick drum, make your mouth into this shape and make a P sound and a B sound. And so for me, I was like, crazy. It was crazy because you didn't really have a reference to what it sounded like. So it was just discovering these sounds, and it's like, oh, to do a bass, you make this kind of sound. So I was discovering sounds without knowing if they were right, or I guess finding my own. And then and after that, just kind of became addicted to it. I borrowed, my sister had she played guitar, and she had a little electric guitar amp which sounded terrible, but I used to beatbox through that like all day. And then like I say, at school I was doing it, and then in like we had like award shows and things like that, my teachers would get me to beatboxing those. And then I just kind of started doing more and more, and started performing at open mics and things like that, and parties, and it was a fun time.
It's so interesting journey, actually, because it's not just normal that you found it on YouTube and you searched some videos and you just learned it. It's you took it from the very background, like from scratch.
Exactly.
It's that's actually so hard.
It's super interesting, and I think it's kind of a bit strange for a lot of new beatboxers. Well, not even new beatboxers, but like beatboxers in the last maybe 5+ years. To know that there was no YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook. So
because I'm 21 years old, so I grew up doing YouTube.
So there was no like now you can just search beatboxing on YouTube, and there's like a billion videos, whatever.
And everything, like everything is easy right now, but back in the day, it was so hard to know just how to do the kick drum. It was.
So it was discovering people in a different way, and also the internet was really slow back then. So if you were sharing, like we used to share clips on humanbeatbox.com, I'd record it on a really, really terrible microphone I bought at like a computer store. So I probably sounded like I was beatboxing into a shoe or something. But you'd upload an audio clip, and it would take like 3 hours to upload a 1-minute clip, and then the same to download it. So it was really hard to share stuff, but it was fun, man. It was fun.
Actually, like knowing that you come from this background and from the early beginning, and then you're here now, hearing all these amazing beatboxers around, and considering you one of the legends of the beatboxing. Well, how do you think like the scene has evolved?
It's been a crazy journey, because I guess to a lot of people I'm old school in a way, that I've come from that generation, which is kind of, I've been beatboxing for 17 years now, which is 15
and 17 years ago, so like 2003.
2003.
I was only 3 years old at that time. Oh my God.
I love that.
It's an
It's
honor, man, to have an interview with you now because I
y-
was a really young kid when you were beatboxing, and now
yeah,
we're talking together. It's
yeah, it's crazy. I love that. I love that I love that the scene's still going. And I guess back then, like I say, it was harder to connect. So we used to, in the UK especially, we used to do beatbox jams that would happen kind of maybe once or twice a year, where on the forum we'd say, oh, we're going to meet in this park in London or in Bristol, wherever it was, and
yeah.
you'd go and meet up. But a lot of the time you would have never seen the beatboxer. You'd only know their name on the forum. So it'd be like,
Uh,
oh, hey, you're Yason. Oh, that's what you look like. Oh, you're Shlomo. Okay, right, I get it. And it was a really funny way. But and then I guess in terms of how the scene has evolved, it's obviously grown like hugely, um, and it's advanced, and like the level of beatboxers that the community is like pushing out is incredible, and obviously the views that they're getting, and the fact that um, you can some of the most viewed videos on the internet are beatboxers, and some are amazing videos that have a lot of views, and maybe I guess for real beatboxers in the scene, some of the videos that have a lot of views and maybe not so amazing to them, but it's still amazing that can have 500 million views or whatever it is.
exactly. Like most videos
um
for Asia's Got Talent is it's actually more than 100 million views, and Tom Tom's TEDx went viral actually.
yeah, it's like one
Yeah,
of the most viewed TEDx talks, which is
wow.
incredible for something
Yeah,
like
I went to
beatboxing.
TEDx twice, and both of them were viral. Especially the first one, it was amazing.
Yeah, and like that kind of thing, to see that happen is incredible. And I guess it's evolved from a way of just like it being a thing and it being everywhere. And when I first started performing, it definitely felt like a lot of the time it was seen as a party trick, or like, oh yeah, my mate, he beatboxes, yeah, he can come to the party and do it, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of started to evolve into being booked for more serious shows, or doing like events for companies, or doing TV adverts and things like that. And then it kind of changed that way into being more widely accepted and widely known. And then, like you say,
Turn it a part of music now, not just
yeah,
a.
yeah, exactly. And especially with like you say, like things like the Got Talent shows and stuff, which maybe some people are not so happy with doing, but it's
Well, well, it helps us in a kind of way that it makes the beatbox go viral a little bit because they are viewed a lot. Although maybe there are some beatboxers that do not reflect how real the beatbox is or how important it is. They just view it as a way to imitate sounds like the kick drum and the snares and everything. But in fact, actually, it exposes the people to what is beatbox. And if they just Google it or search it on YouTube or anything, they will just know how important and how great it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like I think with anything, there's always going to be positive and negative.
Exactly.
Um, but in terms of bringing it to a really wide audience, and something that your mum will know without you needing to explain it to her, in that way, it's amazing that it can do that now. So, it's definitely evolved and definitely gone on a really fun journey. And, you see events like Grand Beatbox Battle, for example.
Exactly.
When I first got involved with them in 2011, maybe. I think I went to the first one, or 12, and it was like part of a
This
festival.
was 2010, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it started off small and then evolved and got bigger. And then the last one I participated in 2014, it
yeah,
was
the one
getting,
called Happy Bus Battle Station.
yeah, which was an amazing thing to be part of, and then see how it grew. And then those years after, so I guess 2016 to now, it's like it's
Oh
blown
yeah,
up.
so,
And I
boom.
think, yeah, and I think you can see that across all, and the same with the World Beatbox Championships. Like that they get amazing numbers, and the same here with the UK Beatbox Champs. It's like it all grows, and it comes from I think it comes from a few different things. Obviously, the scene will help it grow, and a lot of beatboxers will want to go to the events and support the events. But then also, the general public want to see it because they're like, oh, this beatboxing thing. Oh wait, they're battling. What? So you mean like 8 Mile? They like battle each other on stage,
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And then you're widening the audience. So yeah,
that
it's
that's the thing about it actually. But that
yeah.
actually takes us to another question, which is why did it turn now from music, just imitating music, to having some original tracks? Like maybe they're very far away from the music that we're used to listen. It
Mm.
just turned to music right now. So why did that happen?
Yeah, I think it comes again. It comes from the thing of it being like a party trick or something your kind of mate does in at school to being something that you see more as its own musical art form rather than just a thing that can imitate stuff. So, there's you look at some of the originators like Dougie Fresh and Biz Markie and Buffy from the Fat Boys and Rahzel, who, if
Yeah,
you listen to their stuff, like not many of them are doing covers. If you really listen to it, it's
exactly.
like, if your mother only knew is one of the most famous routines, and that is a cover, but he's made it his own,
There's a
and
couple.
like,
That wasn't happening.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that wasn't. Yeah.
yeah, and then like for example, it's funny you asked that question because the other day I was watching some of the old UK champs battles, and I guess in like 2000 and maybe 7 to 10, 2010, 2011, majority of
Yeah.
people were doing covers. Like everyone was doing covers, and it was a thing, and
Yeah.
that was like,
So if you did a cover, I guess, in the final against Freaks One.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
guess you did. Yeah,
yeah.
it was sick.
Which is now, like, if you did that now, people would be like, ah, like,
Classic.
it's not the one. But at the time, it was the thing to do. And then, yeah, and then it was, I think it was certain beatboxers like Reaps One and like those kind of beatboxers who really suddenly brought in this new element of being original and having their own compositions. And people are like, ah, so you mean if I come up with something original, just like a musician would write an original song, like it's very rare that you'll get a big number one hit if it's a cover. If it is
Yeah,
a cover, you'll change it like,
original will hit.
yeah, or it'll be like, oh, they've done like a rock version of a hip hop song or whatever it is, that they've made their own. So with beatboxing, I think it was just the right time for it to sudden, and now with the way that the techniques are being developed and everyone's finding these amazing sounds and ways of doing stuff, it became so much easier to come up with original stuff. And then beatboxers are starting to write their own lyrics and write their own songs. So you have people like a lot of the loopers, like the Beatbox is amazing for that. He's like made a career out of writing his own music and releasing albums of original music, but then also putting in covers to bring people in. So
Uh-huh.
there's a way to do it, but I think in beatboxing it was just that there was a right time where it needed to evolve away from
Yeah.
it just being somebody being amazing at it. And we all can do it, as beatboxers. We can all, you could hear a song, you could hear 30 seconds of a song and you could
Uh-huh.
instantly beatbox that.
Yeah, we're all there.
Yeah. And then so why wouldn't you make your own music basically?
Exactly. And in terms of the battling, the people try to get original as much as they can because if we're all covering music and everything, it's not going to be so differential between
Hmm.
the battlers.
Hmm.
So that's the point actually.
Yeah.
Which takes us to a very very important question, which is why Hobbit is a little bit out of the battling scene right now. Although you're amazing, till now.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's interesting, man. I've had throughout my beatboxing career with battling, I've had a very like love-hate relationship with it. I really love the energy and the pressure of battling, but then also I hate hate the pressure of being in that time and having like a minute and a half to really showcase everything you can do
Yeah,
and really
exactly.
smash it. I love like I'm as a performer, I'm really comfortable showcasing, like having time to develop and build routines and build tracks that I can perform. But I guess it probably came from a thing of being hungry. Like there's a lot of younger beatboxers who are really hungry to show
Yeah.
everything they can do, you know, really like go in and be like, this is everything, this is what I can do, and bah, 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 bah. And for me, that was a time probably up until like 2010, and then the years after that, I was just trying to win. For
Yeah.
me, it was the UK
For
champs.
V-Box and not for the championship itself.
Yeah. So I was just doing
Well,
it.
that brings us to a very important point in that you were not considering battling as a very important thing after the 2010 UK champs. And you were in the final of the 2013 UK championship against Wolsey, and you were in the top 16 in the World Championship in 2015, which is amazing. What if you were considering the battling?
Yeah,
What if you were just to it? Well, what would happen? You would have been the world champ or something.
you never know, man. And it's funny, man. Like the 2015 World Champs, I was very like, kind of. I went there with the Beatbox Collective. That was the goal
Yeah,
for that.
that was well, major thing. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about this.
yeah. So I went there with the Beatbox Collective to do that, and then also, um, Bilo was just like, hey, do you want to enter the solos? Because with the World Champs, it's a bit weird. Like normally in a World Champs, you'd be your country champion and then you'd battle for the world. But with the World Champs, it was like a mix of mainly national champions, so the champion from your country. But then he,
Yeah, Randy Boss Battle Champions, the top 16s from the past
yeah,
championship.
and then some
Just
invitations as well. So
exactly.
he invited me because I think I'd been like 3-time vice UK champion,
Yeah.
and amongst other stuff. So anyway, and I just I did my elimination round and thought nothing of it, but for some reason I got through, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's good.
But
I think
classically, to
that's
me,
like
I
two
just didn't
really
prepare.
in the top 16, which I guess everybody now is trying to just get to the top 16 that you got to without any pressure, without anything. You were just jamming, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah. I think
top 16.
Yeah, I think that shows a lot of the time. Again, with battling, I've definitely been guilty of it in the past um, of like trying too hard as well. Especially elimination rounds. I personally feel are a lot more pressure than battling because
Exactly, because you have to showcase every single
you
thing you
have,
got.
yeah, you have to be like, this is me, this
Regardless
is
how
everything I can do.
track which routine you should play on that elimination, which one is stronger and anything.
Yeah,
That,
exactly. So yeah, so like you say, I was just kind of chilled. I just jammed it and I just did what I did, and then I got into the battles and I was like, oh crap, I've got no routines. I better go practice.
well, that's surprising because you did amazing against Gene Ashley in the top 16 battle. It was a very close battle actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
you've been to the top 8, and I guess Gene met LM.
yeah.
Well, LM was crazy on that battle.
He was. I find, yeah, just to talk about World Champs quickly, I find it's really interesting. I guess it probably comes from experience and knowing different beatboxers and stuff, but I could instantly tell that that was his year, and the same
yeah,
for,
yeah.
you know, when Skiller won. I could tell that
Was
that was his year. Yeah, because you go in and you have to have the mentality of I'm going to be the world champion. You can't go in and being like, oh, I'm going to try do it. I'm going to do my best. No, you have to go in
I have to
knowing
go.
you're going to become it. Yeah. So I love that. I love that some people are made for that, and Skiller was definitely made for that. LM, Alexinho, that they all like
They were
they
given.
yeah, they
I
knew
think
what they wanted.
that's actually interesting because LM was in the final with this killer, and LM was very hungry to win that world championship. And everybody thought like he's gonna do good in the 2015 World Championship, but nobody really expected that LM is gonna be that beast in 2015.
Yeah.
Like going back to 2012 and comparing the routines that he had at that time, and in 2015, like it was 180 degrees.
Yeah.
It was all reversed, and that's actually that was, I guess, the surprise of the judges how more hungry he was. Although he was the vice world champ,
Yeah.
he would have said, "Well, that's enough for me," and everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That
So I find that interesting, and that's one thing I really love about being involved with battles, but not battling. Sometimes
yeah,
is that you can really observe that kind of stuff.
you know
Yeah,
what?
and
Actually, I guess you still have it because your passion for beatboxing is not going away. It's still the same, I guess. So if you enter the battles even for fun, I guess you're gonna be doing really good, and the people are gonna be so happy for your return. Because I guess if you ask anyone if they're waiting for Hobbit's return someday, I guess they would definitely say it's a yes.
You never know, man. I guess, well, me and Ballsy did Grand Beatbox Battle last year, which was great fun.
Yeah.
To go back and do that.
This actually, the 16-bit Z, you were amazing.
Bro, yeah, it was.
Well, actually, let's talk about now. Like, well, how did it all start? Although you were friends with Ballsy for a long time, for long years. Why specifically last year? Why wasn't it a long time ago?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, man. It was like the same with any of our, so with the Beatbox Collective and with kind of any of our things, it's always a lot of last minute stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of just to go back a little bit, for the World Champs, that was very last minute in the sense that we were going out there. I think Ballsy was battling anyway in the solos, and then I think Bilo, maybe, I can't remember if he I think he asked me if we wanted to battle, and I was like, hey guys, should we do it? Should we just do it? And
Oh
then it
my
was kind of
God.
like, oh, I don't know, I don't know.
What's the rate? Oh
Yeah,
my
and then we were like, yeah, we'll do it. And the same for me and Ballsy. We were just like, we
That's
just because
that's crazy,
he's like,
man. Like, I don't think anybody knows this.
yeah, I know,
I don't think
secrets.
that's exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah, but then so me and Ballsy, he's like one of my best friends, and we beatbox a lot together, and we have this really nice connection where we don't need to try a lot of the time, and we come up with little things, and we're like, man, we should film some videos together. It's like, yeah, and then it never gets around to it because of life. And then for Grand Beatbox Battle, I was just like, dude, let's just do it. Let's do Grand Beatbox Battle. Why not? What have we got to lose? It'll be fun. And then we filmed our submission on the night at the closing date of of the thing,
My
like literally probably 1 hour before it closed, and we just about got it done.
thing about it is it happened in the World Champs and it happened in Grand Beatbox Battle, like last minute thing and everything,
Yeah.
and you just kill it every single time, even with solos.
I'm not
In
like
World
it.
Champs.
I promise I'm not normally like it for shows. It's just battling. It's always like a thing where you're like, should we do it? Should we? And but yeah, I just have fun. I have a lot of fun performing with Ballsy. And then
How did it feel going back on the stage of the Grand Beatbox Battle after 5 years?
yeah, it's bizarre, man, because it's like obviously it's so much pressure. I think for me it was more pressure than the World Champs. Just because the level is so high, the production of the event is so incredible.
Yeah,
I had to
everybody.
use a new microphone for the first time. Like we didn't get to try the mic, and we only tried it in the sound check. So it was like, oh God, I've got this new microphone I need to try and use.
Uh,
And, all these things that add up, and then like we couldn't hear our monitors when we did our elimination, like all these things which as a performer for many years you get used to doing, but for whatever reason in that time it was a lot more pressure.
yeah.
But I had a lot of fun. The battle didn't go our way, but it happens. But it was yeah, it's just great. It's great to be there, great to represent, and good to kind of come back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing about it. Yeah, you and Ballsy going back to the Grand Beatbox Battle, it was actually one of the best surprises that everybody saw.
Yeah.
Like when we saw your submission in my card, well, we were like, "What? They're back!" Everybody like that. Yeah, exactly. Everybody in the scene was like, "Yeah, they're finally back."
Yeah,
Was
so it was nice to do, man.
Yeah. So, what about your expectation for that event? Like, did you expect going like for the top four, or were you just expecting to pass for wild card and then do just the elimination and that's it? What?
Yeah, I think for me, like with any kind of these battles, I don't really have the biggest expectations because I just take everything, any day and everything as it comes. So for that battle, for the elimination, we really did work really hard on it. We worked hard to, like, I guess the one positive thing without even having a good routine is that we're very used to being on stage, no matter what the stage, no matter what the crowd. We've performed a lot together as part of the collective and with other projects, and we've performed individually kind of, all over the world.
Mhm.
So we're used to that pressure of being on stage, but we wanted something that was really going to impress the crowd because that's very,
Come
Grand
back.
Beatbox. Yeah, and Grand Beatbox battles obviously a very big beatbox audience. Like there's a lot of beatboxers who go to watch their favorite beatboxers. And then obviously the judging panel were very good. You had Spider Horse, you had
Uh,
Mad Twins.
yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the pressure of having two crews who have been there, done it, and won.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we didn't know when we got into the battle. We were like, "Oh my god, we're through!" And then we just spent like that whole evening in our hotel room practicing and getting stuff working. And then, yeah,
And
it
it's
was it
actually
was
that you
fun.
passed, and everybody was happy about it because your elimination was so good. And we knew since there were Spider Host and Matt Twins, we knew that the judging panel is gonna. Well, they cannot let you go without passing because you were really good, and that's the best thing actually about having an experienced judging panel. Like they know what they're doing and
Mhm.
they take the right decisions in the right time. And actually,
Exactly.
that yeah. And how does it feel for you to have like when you look at the judging panel? Does it make you worry a little bit back in the time when you were battling? Well, was it like hard for you to know that? Well, I guess that guy is not really experienced it. I'm not sure if he's gonna take the right decision, or what was it really relieving when you have a good judging panel?
Yeah, I think it's definitely relieving to have a nice judging panel, and being as part of many battles and watching a lot of battles, you can definitely tell when the judges are not experienced because a lot of the time you can see when they're not really listening
Yeah,
or studying stuff. And I think the judges for that battle especially, I had a lot of respect for them because Mad Twins are incredible in terms of their like musical, their power and everything they've done, and their battle experience. And then you have Gene and Chris who are just like uh they're just experience and everything, and like how they makes it, yeah, I really love all of them. I forget who the other judge was, but it was just really bad. But
yeah.
those four stuck in my head because I was like we were focused on impressing them. And when
I
you
cannot cut it either. No,
yeah, apologies whoever it was, I really do apologize.
no, it was a Slither, I guess. Slither.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I love you, Slither.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but it's just like when with any judges, obviously it's great to have experienced judges, but with any judges, when you're doing a routine and you don't want to stare at the judges when you're performing, but when you kind of look over to them and you see them getting involved, you're like, cool, right, we're on the right track.
yeah.
Because it's one thing the audience enjoying your routines and what you perform, but it's another thing getting the judges to enjoy it as well because they're think yeah, because they're thinking in such a more critical way and a more they're really looking for every little thing rather than just, oh, that was a sick drop.
Yeah, actually, that's the best thing about it, having a good judging panel. Like, for example, let's talk about the, I guess, 2016 or 2017 judging panels for the Grand Prix Boss Battle. It was Reeps One, LM, Skilla, ZD. They're all so experienced and they look for the very, very even small details about
Hmm.
everything. That whenever I hear a name of them, of course, with a lot of other people, but specifically those four, they're so experienced in this, and the way how they show you how they judge and how they're really focused on everything, it's just amazing, man. That's
Hmm.
the best thing about it, having an experienced judge. But apart from this, the loop station,
Mm.
it has another journey with you, so we have to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So,
sure, man.
where did it start from? Like, why did you start loop station? How did it feel? Was it better than the solos and everything?
Yeah, I think the first time I saw someone using a loop station was um at the 2007 Beatbox convention, which happened in London.
Yeah.
And there was a few beatboxers who used it at the time. There was Shlomo did a showcase with one, which was dope. And then there's an American beatboxer who's kind of not really in the scene anymore. I'm not even sure if he beatboxes anymore, but he was called Kid Beyond.
Uh-huh.
And he actually used Ableton Live, which is a music software. He used that to loop. It was incredible. And then the Beatbox also used the loop station at the time. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, you can do more stuff with that. And then after that event, I looked up online and found some stuff. And there's another, there's a US beatboxer called Each, who's kind of doesn't really beatbox anymore, but he, instead of a loop station, he was using a delay pedal. But he was using a delay pedal with maximum delay, so that when he made a sound, it basically looped it because the delay never finished. So he used that, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I bought a delay pedal the same as him, and you could do things like but you were limited to what you could loop. So you could do like one sound, and it would go do do do. But then after about a minute, that sound would start to get quieter. It would never disappear, but it would start to get quieter and quieter.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do like a loop track. You were limited. So I was like, oh, that's not really what I want.
Really hard, actually.
So then I bought a loop station, which was called a Jam Man, which many people don't know. It's a little blue loop station that had two pedals.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. So I had that for many years, and it was so good, man. I wish I still had all the recordings I did on there. It'd be so funny to hear them. But I really got lost into playing with that and thought, oh, I can do so much more, and I can essentially jam with myself and play some more stuff. Yeah, and then a couple of years later, I bought the Boss RC50, which was one of their first loop stations that really blew up, and it had three pedals, so you could have three different tracks. And then now, instead of just having one track that I could start and stop, I could have three different ones. So I was like, oh, so I can have the beat on this one, and then I can have a melody here, and then I can do something else here. And then really just started getting addicted to playing with it and using it. And then I started doing shows with it, and I started working with a few different projects. And then in 2010, I auditioned for a theatre show in the UK, and I got the role in the theatre show where it was myself and a cellist, so a woman playing cello, and we made all the music for the show where I did it live looping, and it just really opened my eyes to how you can use it in a different context.
And it opened the people's eyes to it, because I don't think it was viral at that time. Like,
no, exactly. Yeah, and it just meant that for shows, especially, I realized that at the time you could do a beatbox performance, but after about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, people would start to get a bit bored, because you know that some people, for some audiences it's not what they want to come and see, whereas now you can definitely do a lot more. So I was using the loop station to enhance the show and really big it up. And then in 2014, Poponi asked if I wanted to battle at Grand Beatbox Battle, after I'd won the UK loop station champs in 2013. And then, so he invited me there, and then it kind of opened the door for a lot of different loop station battles. And actually, at that time, that was when I had the RC505. I think most people have only had that. They only had it at the time for a few months. But at that time, you weren't like, not many people used effects. I think Penkix was the only person who was using effects, but it was kind of frowned upon. Like, people saw it as cheating at the time. They were like, oh, you're using effects. Oh, you don't just beatbox and loop. Oh, so you have to use effects to enhance yourself. And I think myself and Firebraz and some of the others the only effect we were using is guitar to bass and maybe reverb. But Penkix was using a lot of effects and absolutely killing it. Like what he was doing back then was crazy.
Listen to it now. It's just, wow, how in that time did you do this?
Yeah, exactly. It was amazing. And for me, it was really interesting to see how it's evolved from that time. And even before that, when you were using the other ones, it was like you never used effects. So like when I won the 2013 champs in the UK for the loop station, there were no effects built into the RC50s. So it was literally like you weren't using guitar to bass, you were using your own like wah bass or whatever, and you were doing different things. It's interesting to see how it's evolved. And now obviously the loop
It's
station
one of the
level
best
is
things about beatbox. Uh,
it's insane. And
Actually, there are a lot of beatboxers actually who took it to a really different level, like mentioned in anime.
mm,
Well, with mine, that sorrow, they are taking it to the next level, man. Like they are always evolving, not just uh, having their own style and sticking with it. They are always evolving, always having new tracks, new
mm,
routines.
yeah.
That's amazing, man.
And I think it also with looping and beatboxing, it kind of it goes back to what we were talking about before with original music, and it definitely opened the door for creating more original pieces of music
Yeah,
because you don't have the limitation of just having one voice. You're able to construct and evolve and really make full music. So, again, shout out to people like the Beatbox and all the other beatboxers you mentioned who really are creating, not just going on a loop station and going and just doing
no,
that. They're
yeah.
really creating music
Like
and soundscape.
soul soundtrack.
Exactly.
That's actually I really actually now enjoy the loop station way more than the solo or the tag teams or anything because
Yep.
it's just open it to another thing. Yeah, you always experience another things. Like the solo is amazing. The beatboxers now are creating new sounds and new constructions and everything. But with the loop station, it's totally different story. It's a like the people like the public when they listen to it they like can say how can someone with his voice do all
Hmm.
of this like
Hmm.
imagine having this at home like for the public imagine having this at home and just trying to create every single piece of music that you love with
Yeah.
your own style.
Exactly. And I think that's where you can definitely there's more like playability with it. You can get lost in it more, and like I spend many days where I'm just playing on the loop station for like 5 hours, but I've only made one song, but I've just gone so deep into it and get lost, and
Takes a
it's
lot just
yeah, it's great fun, and I really love looping, and I love the possibilities with it, and the way you can you know yeah, it's endless, and you don't even have to just use your voice. You can use other instruments to enhance it, and really just get creative with it. So yeah.
yeah, that's amazing, man. So we since we've talked about the loop station and your journey through the Bambi Boss battle, we now have to talk about like the highlight of your career as a beatboxing battler, which is winning the world championship with the Beatbox Collective.
Mm.
So I do not want to hear the story at the world championships. I want to hear back in the days. How did you meet the people? Every single one of them. How did the Beatbox Collective start, and how did it grow to becoming world champs? And that even afterwards, you did not stop it. You're going every single where in the world and performing everywhere.
Mm.
And every single time you evolve, every single time you do something new. How can you keep pace? How can you for like I guess 10 years maybe?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
about 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, the Beatbox Collective. It's been an interesting journey. So most of us have known each other since we started beatboxing, pretty much. Like, I met Bellatrix in when we used to have the beatbox jams that I mentioned before in
yeah.
like 2004 maybe.
Oh,
I met her for the first time, and
so
then yeah, and then Experimental was the same. Experimental was really young. He was like 11 or 12, and his dad used to bring him to beatbox jams. It was very funny. But yeah, so we kind of all met like either performing at like in the UK we have a lot of music festivals where we all get booked individually. So like I'd be at a music festival and see, oh, Base Six is there, and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm doing this show. Do you want to come and jam with me on stage? I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then you'd start doing stuff, and then with the UK Beatbox Champs, we'd all meet battling. So I battled Bellatrix, I battled Experimental, Ballsy, Basics. I think the only person in the collective I haven't battled is MC Zany,
yeah,
because he's too scared of me. No, no, but yeah.
you
So we
should
all,
go on the beatbox scene right now to have this battle. This one should happen. The World Beatbox Camp. We should have this.
that's a good idea.
Okay.
But yeah, and then in 2010. And there's a festival in the UK which we've all performed at, but Base Six used to do a lot of hosting there, and they basically asked him would he be up for creating a beatbox group that was, really beatboxing and not like an a cappella group who were doing covers or things like that. They wanted like a real beatbox kind of orchestra. So he put together a group of beatboxers, which included all of us, plus I think there was Reeps one. I think Darnie was over at the time as well, so he performed with us randomly, and a few other people. Yason was there, Marvel. Yeah, so I think there was about 10 of us who performed, and it was fun, but it was a mess because 10 beatboxers unrehearsed, beatboxing together was just like.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun, but then also it was quite a lot of energy. And then after the festival, we were like, we should do that again. Why have we never done this before? And then we started to meet up, and we had a space in East London, which one of our members, Tobias Hug, who sadly passed away this year, he used to organize stuff there, and we'd have jams, and slowly people kind of went off in their own way. Like Reeps had his own thing, so he was like, "Oh, I love what you guys are doing, but I'm gonna focus on a solo career." And everyone kind of did their own thing, and then it evolved over time into what it is now. And some people left, some people moved on, and then now we have our crew, which is myself, MC Zany, Experimental, Bellatrix, Basics, and Zany, and and we just started performing and doing shows, and slowly realizing that there was something there. And a lot of our shows at the time were kind of like a jam. we wouldn't really have songs that we do. We'd just be like, hey, let's do a hip hop song now, and then go into a hip hop track, and hey, let's do a house track now. And then we realized that we can write songs, and Bellatrix is a really good songwriter. So we wrote a couple of the songs. One of the songs we performed at the World Champs was written by her. And then MC's and then MC Zany is a really good MC, so we got him doing some MCing in some of the tracks, and then it just kind of evolved from there. And then we performed a lot. We did a lot of festivals. We do like 30 festivals in summer, just like performing at different ones, and knowing that we know that really well, and we can perform really well at festivals, but then realize that we could get into doing corporate shows. So we started performing a lot for companies, whether it was like award shows or company parties and things like that, or doing workshops. Like we taught a lot of workshops, and then in 2015 it was like, hey, let's go and battle at the World Champs. And
I still cannot get over this. Like, oh my god, the World Champs were made just out of a sudden.
Yeah, literally. And in terms of rehearsal, again,
maybe the best entry, the best sudden entry of all time.
Yeah, and then we tried to have rehearsals, and everyone. So one thing to say about the collective is that it's an amazing crew, and we love what we do, but we also have a lot of respect for the fact that all the members have really successful solo careers. So, if Ballsy gets a tour in America for 9 months, that's what he's going to do, and that's fine, because that is, we're there for each other to support that. If I get a show and something here that I can't do the show, then fine, that happens.
Yeah, I do respect this, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of respect for each other in that way, and that we can support each other. Yeah, but it's also sometimes maybe not the best thing, because it takes longer to create stuff. But anyway, we were supposed to have a lot of rehearsals for the World Champs, and I think we had one where we were all together. And then we created our elimination round, and then again didn't expect anything. We were like, we're going to do what we're going to do. We had all the French guys being like, oh, you shouldn't drink beer before, you're not gonna do well, and all this like just joke. Like we love the French community. We have a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun and jokes with them. So they're our brothers from another country. And yeah, we did the elimination round, and then suddenly our name got called for the battles, and we were like, oh, okay, we should probably go practice. So then we went to practice our battle round in the car park, and then came up against Under Control, who one of my favorite beatbox crews ever. I'm so sad that they're not together anymore, because they were phenomenal. And for whatever reason, I think because again, with the way that the Beatbox Collective is, we go to shows and we do what we do. We have our own energy and our own thing. And then at the World Champs, we weren't there to really battle. We had like a couple of things which we did against Under Control, which we thought, oh, we can attack them with that. But it was mainly just us being the Beatbox Collective.
Yeah,
And
you don't just care about battling or anything. You just
mm,
it's about the Beatbox Collective itself, the piece of music.
yeah, and performing and that experience of years of performing and knowing our energy and knowing each other really well, that we just, yeah, we did our thing and then we won. And it was a crazy feeling.
But didn't you think in the 2018 World Champs, didn't you feel like a nostalgia? I want to be back to that stage and perform again and win the World Championship again. Wow,
We
didn't you?
really did. Well, yeah, it was a little bit sad because we had confirmed to go and defend our
Yeah,
title, and
yeah.
then we got a really big show in Dubai, that came in over that weekend, and it was it. But the thing was, it wasn't just that weekend; it was 2 weeks of work, and we just had to take the work, and that's the way it is sometimes, man. You know.
So you cannot go back for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it happens, and sometimes these things work out, and sometimes they don't. And sadly, we
It
didn't get
was
to. We
man,
didn't get
everybody
to.
was waiting for Beatbox Collective, and actually, they were waiting for Hobbit and Ballsy, and every single one of the Beatbox Collective to go for the solos as well. Like
Yeah.
I was one of the people who was really waiting for Hobbit's return and Ballsy's return because you guys are legends. And whenever one of you participates in well in the Grand Beatbox Battle or in the World Championship or anything, it feels way more special than it is. Like it is, yeah, it is amazing anyway. But having a legend like Hobbit or Ballsy or Reeves One or Lamb or any one of the big names and the most respectful names, having them on the show is just one of the best things that any one of the audience can have. Like if you just do the boots and cast thing, everybody's gonna cheer you up just because they love you, man, and they miss you.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I think you're definitely right. It's nice to have that kind of energy at a show because, especially at a battle, because it can with something like the World Champs where there's so many beatboxers and there's so much going on. It's nice to have something that holds its like
Yeah.
realness to it.
So, what do you think? Like when you look back at your journey with the beatbox battling and events and everything, it's been 17 years now. You said so. When
Mm.
you look back at it, do you feel well? Let's say proud of it, or do you feel satisfied, or you just normally say, well, I could have done better at this. I could have done better at that. What do you think back at these days?
I think yes to everything that you just said. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think I've been very fortunate to do a lot of different projects and shows and being invited to a lot of amazing battles, not just to participate but to judge. And I'm super proud to have experienced that. And I think for me in my beatbox career, I've always, as a performer, I've always kind of said yes to many things, and I'm not kind of scared to say no to a project even if I'm not keen on it, because you can always find a way to make it good, you know. Even if it's obviously there's limits to it, of course. Like I'm not going to dress up as a chicken and do a beatbox advert or something like that, but you know, I think it's amazing to look back and see everything that's happened. And now being on the other side as well, organizing the UK Beatbox Championships, it's like you take on a whole nother thing of being like, now I'm doing something to help support the scene, and now I know what it's like to be a battler, and now I can help support those battlers. So yeah, I think it's definitely I definitely put my proud hat on when I look at everything that's happened and everything that I've achieved. I definitely would have liked to perform better in battles. I guess that's one thing I'd say. And there's, I think with you could ask any performer, not just beatboxers, but you could ask them, you know, how they've like performed throughout their career, and you could definitely say, oh yeah, I did this show and it was,
Yeah.
yeah, I did this show to like 50,000 people, but I wish I'd done this better or whatever, you know. Or I'd done this show to 100 people and
Even
I
if
wish I'd done this better.
it's amazing, nobody's is satisfied with his performance because every day get better. So you think, oh, I could have done this one better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but it's yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And I'm just really proud to see the scene still be here, still beautiful, still growing, still putting out beatboxers from all over the world. And for me, I think it's amazing to see the journey of the scene on a global scale, and now discovering beatboxers from all sides of the world, which you didn't think beatboxing even existed in.
That's one of the best things, actually. So
Yeah.
I've actually had one thing to say from the early beginning of this interview, but I decided to let it in the end of it because I'm looking now at a three-time UK Championship finalist, a 2014 Grand Beatbox Loop Station finalist, top 16 in the 2015 World Championship, and the world champion as a team with the Beatbox Collective. That is amazing, man. You've had an incredible career. So, with a growing community like ours, the Arabian beatbox community, there are a lot of beatboxers that taking you and a lot of other beatboxers as a role model or something like that. They look up to you. So it's not easy what you've done, and telling them how did you do it and everything, I guess would help them a lot. So did it take a lot of work and a lot of practice, and how did it actually go? Did you feel down at some times? And with the fact that nowadays the people when they beatbox, some people go to them and stop spitting and everything, and they just feel down about it. Why I'm not good. How do you encourage them? How do you let them know that it's not just making noise, it's music?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I think for me, it was definitely a journey of sounding bad a lot of the time, and making things up, and especially when you're preparing for a battle, the one bit of advice I'd say, which took me a couple of years to learn when after I started battling, which is to make and have more stuff than you need, because many times, especially when I've battled, like when I battled Reaps in 2010, and when I battled Contrix and Bull Z, both of them, every time it went to an extra round. So for me, I'm like, that's amazing that I pushed these beatboxers who I think are incredible to an extra round. But then when it came to the extra round, I was like, I'm done. I've got nothing left. But you need to keep that drive, and you need to keep going. And in terms of performing and coming up with like routines and this kind of thing, don't feel bad that sometimes you run out of energy and you run out of passion for beatboxing, because I live beatboxing. Beatboxing is my life. I don't know if like at the moment times are really crazy, and we don't know when you'll be able to really perform or do these events again properly, but I'm still watching videos. I'm still getting to talk to people like you about it. I'm still getting to participate and judge battles online and stuff. And but that doesn't mean that I love it every day. So don't feel bad if you wake up one day and you're like, I really don't feel like beatboxing today, and then you scroll on Instagram and you're like, oh god, another beatbox. I just don't even want to look at it. Don't feel bad that happens. It happens to everyone with everything. Don't think that a footballer is going to love watching and playing football every day of their life, even if it's what they do and they love, it's their passion. So don't feel bad for that, but then also really do love and enjoy what you do. Whenever you're doing it and whenever you're feeling it, if you're not fully into it, just leave it for that day. Come back to it tomorrow. Don't push it. Don't really try to push it out when the energy is not there. But yeah, I think it's one of those things with beatboxing where it's always with you. So even on a day where you're down about it, suddenly you'll be bored and you'll be sitting there and you'll be going, oh wait, I could use that, and then suddenly it's back. But yeah, I think obviously, yeah, exactly. And I think it's interesting. I can talk from a position of being in the UK, which has a really rich and vibrant music scene, and it's been very accepting of beatboxing from all over the place, whether it's performing, whether it's having really nice audiences for battles, whether it's accepting them onto TV shows, TV adverts, and things like that. We're very lucky here that we have that, and we're very lucky that we have such a rich scene that have a lot of professional beatboxers. But I think, you have just to push what you're doing, and like I grew up in a city where I was kind of the only real beatboxing around. And when I started performing, I'd go to a lot of open mic nights where you'd, perform for free,
Yeah.
and there would be three men and his dog playing a guitar and singing, and then I'd come on and be like, and it'd be like,
Yeah, I
oh,
usually do that actually.
something,
I usually,
yeah. So it's nice to open people's eyes to that and find ways of integrating your beatboxing into different uh, aspects of music in your community. So whether it's performing with local musicians, whether it's finding somewhere you can teach beatboxing, whether it's to young people or to kids, and finding a way to integrate it into that way, and just really, enjoy what you do, love what you do, and try and push beatboxing to the best ability, and don't try to compare yourself too much to people. Don't think, oh, but he's doing amazing. Like, oh, Alem's world champ, and I'm still beatboxing in my bedroom. It's like, yeah, everyone has their own journey. So don't worry about comparing yourself to anyone. You have your own journey, and you'll find your own path. But yeah, just keep doing what you do.
you know what? Actually, this is one of the best advices that I've ever got. Not just the people around there. I've been beatboxing for 5 years now, and well, this I can tell that your advices. If I heard them from the early beginning, they would have shifted my career with beatboxing. But we still all have time, and we all have the way to shift our career to the right way. And I
Mm.
guess your advice is an excellent piece of advice for everyone, especially for the people who are going to start beatboxing or are still beginners, because that's the best thing about it. You
Mm.
just have to be you, not
Mm.
just like looking at everyone. And all the advices that you've said, they actually really touched me, and
Yeah,
I really wanted to hear them out someday. And you did tell me
yeah.
about.
To jam with each other and find a community, find a space where you can meet up, and have regular jam nights, and share stuff, and whether it's like have a place where you can perform and be like, oh, hey, this is my new routine, I want to show everyone, whether that's on, maybe it's online at the moment, so maybe have a like a
It
weekly.
helped us actually a lot. Actually, the online, because the Arabian Beatbox community has evolved online, because it's
Mm,
not just one country. It's I guess 12 countries or
of
something,
course.
like the UK, Scotland, Ireland, and England.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't have we don't get to meet all together, but we have this thing online. We always try to support each other and everything. It's actually been going for like around 4 or 5 years now.
Amazing. Yeah. So with that, it's just like finding other ways to push it. So whether that's like meet up like once a week or once a month online, where you
Yeah.
can all have like a feedback session. So you each perform like a 5 minute routine, and then everyone gives feedback on it and be like, oh yeah, that was really cool, but I think maybe if you work on the singing and get that better, then it will sound better. Or oh yeah, that's cool, but your bass is a bit weak, so, or whatever it is.
Advices everywhere, and you try to implode them to your beats.
Yeah, exactly. So find ways that you can support each other that way, and then yeah, I think the main thing with growing any community is just being accepting of everyone, and you know finding the best way to go about these things. And if there's a problem in your community, addressing it the right way, and not just being like, we don't like that guy, we're kicking him out. It's finding ways to talk to these people and include them where possible, or and support them where possible. But yeah, I think it's just about treat your community as a family, and be there for everyone, and support everyone, and yeah,
That's the thing.
share and make noise together, and make the best of it.
All right, man. Thank you so much for this advice and for this interview. It was a pleasure, man. I have to
Thank you,
tell
bro.
you. And I'm talking to you right now because I was watching you when I started beatboxing, I guess 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm.
and I never thought I would be able to talk to you or well have this conversation with you. I was just looking forward to just saying hi and you say hi back. That's it. So now
Yeah.
talking to you right now, it's a pleasure, man.
No, it's
I,
an absolute pleasure. Thank you, man. Really good questions as well. Nice interview.
So thank you so much, man, for this, and hopefully this pandemic ends and we all can go and perform everywhere as we used to. And we're
Exactly.
forward to having more and more interviews with you and with other beatboxers again, because it's actually a pleasure, man. And well, yeah, good luck with the future. I really hope I can watch you in a solo battle soon, man.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. You never know. But I've been battling a bit online, so check it out.
Yeah, that's actually like a bit calming me down. Like, yeah, Hobbit is coming back. He's gonna be
Slowly.
back. Yeah.
Sick.
All right, it was an honor, man, and I'm looking forward to doing it again soon.
For sure.
Hopefully with something new to talk about.
Yeah.
I think we
Wicked.
covered everything right now. We've been talking
Yeah.
for about an hour and plus, I guess.
Amazing. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel like it.
yeah, no, man, I really enjoyed every second of it. So
Wicked.
thank you so much for being so respectful and for being so helpful for this. And I wish you all the luck with your future and everything you're having.
Thanks so much, bro. Thank you again. And yeah, big shout out to the Arabian Beatbox community. Keep doing what you do. Big love. And yeah, speak to you soon.
Thank you so much. And so that was it, guys, with the one and only Hobbit. It was Dad with you with the talk with Daddy. See you soon. Bye. See you, mate.
Peace.
Wait. We forgot
Oh,
something very important.
what?
We need a 2 or 3 minute jam from you, man. You forgot this. Oh my God, how did I forget it?
Ooh, secret. All right.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. This is exclusive. Let me get set. Okay. Okay, let's go. Hobbit Arabian Beatbox community.
Okay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is amazing. And you know, that's the thing about it. I'm hearing Hobbit live right now. He's talking to me and he's beatboxing to me. Oh my god, man. That was a dream come true, man. I cannot believe it. And that was insane. That was really insane, man.
Woo.
Thank you so much for this. And guys, yeah, that's Hobbit. That's the one and only. Yeah.
Sick. Thank you so much.
I cannot put it into words, man, but I'm really grateful that I had this interview with you. And thank you so much for this showcase. It's so insane. And hopefully hear more from you, man. And well, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. Big love.
All right, that's it, people. That's it. There are no more things. Right, that was Hobbit, and that was the first episode from the Talk with Daddy. And wait for us for another episode with that. Yeah, peace out.
Peace.
See you, man.
Peace, man.